Welcome to Talking Pictures Trivia, the podcast in which a group of geographically challenged friends explore movies through trivia as an excuse to keep their friendships alive. I'm one of these friends and today's host, Nick, and with me is...
Tom.
And KJ.
For those joining us for the first time, we start off each episode with a movie quiz, as these 4 rapid-fire trivia questions will determine who earns today's trivia crown. The first question is worth 1 point, and each question after that is worth 1 more point. Then we'll follow it up with our famous movie rant where anything goes. Tom, tell us about today's movie.
Walking up to theaters in 1959, we would have had to choose between North by Northwest, Disney's Sleeping Beauty, The Shaggy Dog, and today's movie, Some Like It Hot. I will be our questionnaire for today. What?
No, it's just funny.
Usually you just roll right into the plot summary, but it's nice that we got to say that, one last time.
Try it again.
No, it's fine.
You're good.
I'll probably
Oh,
include
I
it.
did. Mhm. So what is this movie about? Well, we have our 2 musicians, Joe, a saxophone player, and Jerry, a double bass player, who accidentally witnessed the St. Valentine's Day massacre. In order to escape from being killed by those gangsters, they go on the run dressed as women in an all-women's band, which travels from Chicago to Florida. There they befriend and start to compete over and fall in love with Sugar Kane, the band's vocalist, played by none other than the great Marilyn Monroe. As we go along, hijinks ensue, relationships boil, and the gangsters who they thought they escaped seem to be in their path once again.
It's time for question 1.
What is the only type of drink the speakeasy serves?
Oh, no.
Locked in.
Okay, this is all the way in the beginning. Is this a joke or you actually want to know?
It's a joke and he wants to know.
They
I
ask-
remember what the gangsters were drinking. Does that help?
Well, there's a specific scene where the police
Yeah.
detective asks, "What is the speakeasy? Can I have liquor?" And the waiter says,
Okay, got it. Okay, locked in.
"All right, what do you have, Nick?"
Okay, I'm going to say coffee.
All right, KJ, what do you have?
Yeah, coffee. They only serve coffee.
Very good. Coffee it is.
The gangsters were only drinking milk, though, in their establishment.
Ah, that's true.
Mhm.
Buttermilk.
That's why I needed a little clarification there.
Mhm.
Guys, I've been drinking good coffee lately, I gotta say.
No more coffee break? No? You're back on it?
I'm back on the coffee. Oh, and there's been some good coffee. Holiday spiced coffee is all right.
What are you drinking?
It's called mocha mistletoe, and it's beans and you grind them or whatever. So it's just black coffee, but it's delicious. And then the
It's
other
got
one,
a nice name.
Yeah.
Mocha mistletoe.
mocha mistletoe. Yeah.
It's time for question 2.
What analogy does Jerry, played by Jack Lemmon, use to describe how Marilyn Monroe's character Sugar moves? What is the analogy that Jerry uses to describe how Sugar moves?
Oh, man.
You can picture the scene. They're standing at the train. It's early on when they're wearing heels, so they're kind of struggling. And then she walks in and he says,
I just really like this line.
Oh, my gosh. I'm coming up blank.
I'm trying to walk like that and see if it comes to me.
You could never walk like that, KJ.
Nah, it would take a while to practice.
Which they did. They actually hired a woman to help them, like, do the impersonation.
From what I read, Tony Curtis was nervous about it, so he trained really hard. Whereas Jack Lemmon was so excited, he didn't care. That's why he looks kind of clunky.
Yeah, Jack Lemmon is sometimes Jack Lemmon is like a note too much, I think, in some scenes.
Hmm.
But when he isn't, he's marvelous. Like when you see him dancing with exchanging the rose back and forth with
Mhm.
his millionaire, it's he really like he's really kind of this sort of flappy, and his face is so sort of forward, and his lips kind of puck out so much.
Nobody's perfect.
Yeah, he looks like a Raphael, doesn't he?
Well, I'm going to lock in just so that we can finish this question.
Oh, wait, Nick, you locked in first. So
Yeah.
KJ goes whenever he feels like it.
Yeah, I gotta locked in. I don't even have a good joke. So I just looked over. We have a pantry down here, and there's a thing of sugar. So I'm just reading sugar and sugar and sugar over again. Moved like I don't know, grains of sugar.
All right, Nick, what do you have?
I don't have it. She moved like an angel, which is completely wrong. Just
Uh,
tell us what it is.
it's Jello on springs.
Definitely
Love
not an
that
angel.
so much.
It's time for question 3.
How do you get a group of buzzed band women to stop tickling you?
Locked in?
Man, I can picture this scene too. So they're on the train in the bed. They drop the ice, and then someone says, "You're ticklish."
Seemed like a very dangerous scene for Jack Lemmon. I'm shocked they didn't realize he was not a woman.
Everybody is sort of like a little.
Clark Kent. It's a little Clark Kent.
Everybody's also like a little dumb. Like there's this sort of delightful airiness to everyone, right? Maybe dumb's a mean word. There's sort of a sort of space cadet quality to to a lot of people. Probably Tony Curtis's character is an exception to this.
I know KJ didn't lock in yet, but a specific scene was when Jack Lemmon thought it was a good idea to go swimming. I'm like, how are you covering this up?
Audience, this is a poor show. Locked in with nothing.
All right, okay. Do you want to go with nothing?
You start telling a story about a dog.
Again, Nick, what do you have?
That was my favorite scene when he started telling that story about a dog. I mean, it just really pulled up my heartstrings. I mean, okay, the real answer, I believe it's correct, is that you pull the cord to stop the train.
Oh, of course.
Yep, you pull the emergency brake. Very good.
It's time for question 4.
Nobody is what?
Perfect.
Locked in. Yeah, I was gonna say nobody's perfect. Yeah,
Exactly.
I kind of made the joke earlier. Sorry.
Yeah. No, that's why I was like, maybe we should.
Which was a funny ending.
Mhm.
Great
Yeah,
ending.
that's a great
I'm
ending.
a man. Nobody's perfect.
It's like the sweetest thing
We can't get
probably
married.
anyone could say in a movie, right? Mhm. It's just like I really like I accept you no matter what. Do you want to do one more question? Just to
Sure. Question 5.
question
Go
5.
for it.
It's time for question 5.
What is Spatz's alibi for the night of the St. Valentine's Day murder? This is worth 5, so it could be anybody's.
Ooh.
Or nobody's.
Locked in with a guess.
Same. Locked in.
Okay, what do you got?
He was playing golf.
He was at Giuseppe's?
No, he was at the opera.
Oh, the opera.
Yeah, because it's there. Remember where they are? Friends of Italian Opera.
They're the
That's
Friends
their-
of the Italian
That's
Opera.
their cover.
Yes.
Yeah, he's at Rigoletto. That's his thing. Do you one more question so we end on a note?
On a
An
correct
A note?
answer.
Yeah, how about this?
It's time for question 6.
What does the title refer to?
Locked in.
Locked in.
All right. What do you got, Nick?
The style of music.
All
Yeah,
right.
very similar. Either how the music's played or the type of music. Yep.
Yeah, especially like the musical taste of people who like jazz, to be, more specific. But there we go, ending on a high note. And Nick, as usual, has taken down the episode.
There it is. He's
Even
back.
if I show up, that's great.
Stay tuned for our gender bending movie rant coming up right after this break. Join another Talking Studios production, Limited Lexicon, where we play through text-based adventure games. Text-based adventure games were computer games from before computers had graphics. The game uses text to describe a scene, and the player types back how they want to interact with the game. I'll read the text from the computer, and my co-host will feed me commands. This season, we're playing through The Hobbit from 1982 on the ZX Spectrum. Here's a quick sample.
I thought a lot about our first command, and I think it should be no print because we don't want to print things as we're going along.
I think by default, it's not going to print. And even if I did type print, where is it going to print to? 1982?
I would imagine if we go west, we're going to be south of the troll, right? Just south of the troll land.
Yeah, let's try it.
You go west. The troll's clearing. The visible.
Oh, we died.
Oh.
All right.
The troll saw us and killed us.
So I think we have to say the answer to the riddle then.
The answer is dark.
Say dark, I think.
Talk to what?
Gollum.
Gollum.
Say Gollum dark.
You talk to Gollum. Thorin says, hurry up.
And we died.
What?
And we died.
So we went northeast last time. So let's go southwest.
You go southwest. Visible exits are north, northwest. You see the valuable golden ring.
Oh.
We're ending it here. That's
Wait.
perfect.
All
That's
right.
perfect.
Limited Lexicon, coming to your podcatcher and YouTube in late 2022 by Talking Studios. And we're back. Guys, this movie was a lot of fun. I got a lot of Michael Hahn vibes from this movie. Or maybe the other way around, so to say,
Yeah. Yeah, can you tell me more about that? Why'd you get those vibes? I agree with you, but
Yeah, because it was silly. It was a movie, right? It knew it was a movie. The suspension of disbelief you had to have the whole time. I think we were talking before. There's kind of the Clark Kent syndrome going on here. Like, even though Jack Lemmon and Tony Curtis looked great, there's no way you keep that up for this whole the whole charade. And Michael Hahn, I think, had a lot of that too, where they start playing baseball, they become the mayor. You have to let that go. You have to be okay with that to enjoy the movie.
Long for the ride.
Mhm.
yeah, there's sort of a magical space you enter, right? And that seems to be with a lot of kind of romantic comedies. There's like the real world, and then you sort of enter the magical place or the place where possibilities are had. It might not literally be magical, but it's the place that's different from the world we start in, where there's seemingly bizarre and infinite possibilities. Like, think of Midsummer Night when they run into the woods and everybody kind of gets the flower and starts falling in love. There's a sort of quality to that here where Chicago is the real world. It's cold, people get killed, it's the Depression. And then we get on this train ride, and there's a bunch of attractive women, led by the most attractive woman ever, who just kind of want to cuddle up with you and are perfectly happy to believe that, you're a woman, and the bachelors, the millionaire bachelors, are there for the taking. It's sort of a lovely escape. And it's also, I don't think, sentimental ever. The movie's never sentimental. Even when supposedly Tony Curtis's character and Marilyn Monroe's character, like, quote unquote, fall in love, it's utter deception, and the movie just ends with him going, sorry, and that seems to be fine. And we actually don't care about the reconciliation, right?
And she goes away with him too. It's not like I'm upset that you played me or anything. Like, it's just, oh, it was you all along. I'm going.
Yeah, well, he's a tenor sax player, and that's what you really like, So there's this like stupid little out, right?
Yep.
Yeah, for that.
Perfect.
Yeah.
You know what was perfect? the pompous character for Tony Curtis. It's just like a weird
Oh,
It
accent.
sounds
yeah, yeah.
exactly like Cary Grant. If you ever hear Cary Grant's native accent,
Oh, I think Cary Grant sounds nicer than that. No?
Cary Grant's British accent, which he almost never used in movies,
Oh,
kind of
oh,
sounds
not
like
as
that.
American, not as
Not his
American.
American accent, but that's actually
Okay.
kind of what Cary Grant sounded like. That's what was so strange when hearing it. Like, why? It's like not an upper class British accent. It's like a kind of a street accent. So I was like, what? Why is he doing that one?
That's the whole purpose. It's what he thinks affluence is. It's like a snooty
Yeah.
foreign British person. Yeah.
And she doesn't know any better.
Right.
She
it
doesn't know much
yeah.
at all.
Yeah, she didn't know anything. So
I
that
love when
works
he got
perfectly.
on the yacht and he's like, "This is oh wait, no, this room." He was trying to find like his way around the ship.
And this is the morning room. They serve me here on Wednesdays in the small dining room.
So Tom, you mentioned the Depression, but this took place in 22, I think.
29.
Was it 29? Because they make a joke. What is the stock market going to crash? Like they make a
Yeah.
bunch of jokes that I think, I did. I mean, I caught that one, but there was other ones that were probably very timely. That if it was
It was a bunch of
58
things that did happen.
Right, exactly. Like what is it?
Yes.
Like what is it? And I think so. This came out. The movie came out in 58, and this took place in 29. So then let me just
Like
update.
59, I think. I think 59. But
Yeah, so
it
it's
doesn't
about
matter.
30.
1 year.
59.
Yeah, 30 years.
30 years. So that would be not too dissimilar from us watching Stranger Things today. Just to put it in perspective, is what I was
Yeah.
kind of the point I was trying to get to.
But do you feel, I feel Stranger Things is also very much celebrating the period that it's taking place in.
Well, do you don't think this movie is? It's all the good music. You don't see any of the depression that's right around the corner. It's
No,
the
but it's
high
not about the
energy.
depression.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
I think it's
Mhm.
just the time frame. I don't know.
I think they're celebrating the 20s. The dancing,
think
the
so?
music, the singing.
Okay. Yeah, maybe it is, and I'm not saying we do have a few musical numbers.
Yeah, but the 20s and all that, like the Roaring 20s are more like the flapper dancers and all that. This was more like jazz, right? And like
Well, there's jazz
on
in
the
the
outskirts.
yeah,
Yeah.
but I mean,
But I'm just saying it's not the mainstream of what you think of.
Well, there
The
was
Roaring
flappers in the
20s.
funeral home, right? That
Mhm.
was we saw that.
That's true. That is true. I don't know.
Yeah, the music was done by Adolf Deutsch, and Deutsch is comes from kind of the silent movie scene, but he kind of came up in the 30s doing like background music for the Gershwins and for Berlin, for Oklahoma and things like that. I don't know. Do you find the music to be very much an homage to the 20s or to the jazz age, which is also known as the 20s?
As much as the intro to Stranger Things is a homage to the 80s.
I mean, I could be wrong with it. I did not get that feel. I got a sort of the setting was needed in order to get gangsters to go after
Yeah, I
liquor. You know
felt
what I mean? Like
more
like
of
a,
that too.
yeah. I could be wrong because when I just heard the music, it didn't bring me back to it. Sounded like, kind of standard 50s fare.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. But I can imagine like Sinatra singing that or something, or Rosemary Clooney rather.
Usually the Roaring 20s ones are more of a celebration of excess, and this was more about these very poor musicians trying to make their way in this world and witnessing something and having to escape with their lives. So it was the setting, but I didn't feel like that was the key part. I feel like this story could have been told in different time periods. Like it was done in this one on purpose, but it probably could translate in other times.
Yeah, and it has been done a few times.
Yes, yeah.
Like the men dressing like women in order to do whatever it is they need to do. I'm trying to think of some of it now. I mean, it's based on a novel called Fanfare of Love, which is a novel from the 30s. Or excuse me, not a novel, excuse me, a film from the 30s, which was the, kind of the
You
same
must be
thing.
thinking of The famous Mrs. Doubtfire.
Yeah, or Mrs. Doubtfire, yeah. But that kind of works in the
Hello!
same thing, right?
But another one I'm thinking in the Birdcage, Gene Hackman has to cross dress to escape wherever he is.
I don't know. I find this like so many of the lines, but like that line I brought to the question, you know, she looks like Jello in heels, or what does he say? She looks like Jello on springs to describe her kind of movement.
It's a funny line. It is a funny line.
Yeah. Or you know, nobody's perfect, that type of thing.
That was a really good ending.
Yeah.
But it's so
And-
ridiculous, but it has to be for this film, you know?
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah, it's just so big and fun and kind of dumb. You know what I mean? There's like no subtlety whatsoever in this movie. It has no tolerance for it. It just wants to wants to allow these characters, these actors, room to sort of explore like having to deal with this disguise that they're putting on. Yeah, it's a really good time.
So this has nothing to do with the movie. In the hotel room, why did the bathroom have 2 doors?
Oh,
was it a Jack and Jill?
No, it just had 2 doors that entered the same room.
actually, that's somebody I used to date had a bathroom like that.
But then you lose a wall in the bathroom and you lose a wall in the bedroom.
Mhm.
It's just whenever I saw it, I was like, who in their right mind designed this hotel to put the 2 doors
Together.
Well, they're on 2 different walls.
Oh yeah,
It's not like a French door, like a double
Mhm.
French door. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
yeah. Yeah.
I mean, it made for good blocking or whatever, because they could walk through it and throw things
Mhm.
out. The guy can go in and then throw things out, but
Yeah.
it's a really bizarre hotel.
Wouldn't it
room
be
design.
funny if that wasn't in the hotel room and that is just a
made for the movie?
yeah,
Oh, probably was. I'm sure
just
it
a
was
set.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a lot of things don't need to really make sense. Like they're completely broke. They have to sell their overcoats, but
That's the
They have a-
problem in this movie of what things don't make sense. It's
Yeah.
the 2 doors to the bathroom. You got it, KJ. You got it.
but they have a complete wardrobe, a woman's wardrobe that they're able to afford on a dime's notice. Yeah, I think that's fine. And I think like the train scene where like everybody gets drunk and sort of jumps into Jack Lemon's character's bed, like it's so like kind of risque a little bit.
It was uncomfortable though. I feel like you'd be claustrophobic too. Like there's a lot of
but
people.
it's claustrophobic for him, but it's also such a delightful scene of like all these kind of like women getting drunk who just decide to jump into this dude's bed to do it, not realizing it's a dude. And they're like falling out all over the place. You can't make out where one body is and another body is. They sort of kind of like envelop each other. It's such like a lovely bit of blocking. And I also like how like the strict Sue character doesn't notice until the brake is pulled, and that's what wakes her up, even though she appears to be like 15 feet away. Yeah, and Marilyn Monroe is, she's kind of famously difficult in this movie. She's sort of had a lot of trouble shooting it. She had a bit of a pill addiction at this time. This sort of famously took like 43 takes in order to say the line, "It's me, sugar," which included variations of "sugar, it's me" and "it's sugar me." Sorry, yeah. So she has a leading role that she first worked with Billy Wilder in that play, excuse me, in that movie. And he really didn't want to work with her in a lead role after this, even though she does have that, as you're saying, bit role in The Apartment. But she's also the perfect person for that role, right? I mean, that sort of, kind of glassy-eyed, um, self-effacing, utterly honest. I mean, Sugar is a brutally honest person in this movie. She has no real illusions or delusions about who she is. She doesn't seem to have any kind of concern lying. She never seems to lie, right, except to hide her liquor. She's utterly fun. She like drinks. She likes men. She's willing to kind of go after these men she likes. When she's discovers she's been deceived, she's fine. She gets over it. There's a sort of you could see why you would want to pull someone like Marilyn Monroe into this movie, despite the difficulty she gave for the production.
Another thing I noticed during the movie is scenes would end and Jack Lemmon and Tony Curtis would still be talking.
Mhm.
So it would either fade to black or fade to the next scene or whatever, but they're still talking. So it was just a weird, I'm sure they had to cut the movie time down, but I don't think I've ever seen that in a movie before where it's noticeable that the scene's not over, but it's over for us.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it's over. I
Mhm.
just have to throw this in there to correct a correction of mine. She didn't have a bit scene in the apartment. She had a bit scene in All About Eve. I'm all over the place today.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Sorry.
She had a
Sorry about
smaller
that.
role. That was one of
And
her
that was
earlier roles.
earlier. That was 1950.
Yeah.
So that was
Yeah, we remember that, right? We did that show.
Yeah.
Mhm.
She had a bit part.
She became the television actress. And that's what he says. You're going to television. And she goes, "Are there auditions for that?" He says, "It's only auditions."
Well, I'd like to once again congratulate our winner of the week, Nick. Nobody's perfect.
You can rate and review this show anywhere podcasts are available. For those viewing in YouTube land, if you haven't already, please like this video, subscribe to the Talking Studios channel for all our exciting content, and follow us on Twitter at Talking Studios. Check out other shows by Talking Studios, including Keep Making Movies, where we explore micro-budget films, Limited Lexicon, where we play through text-based adventure games, and Get the Point, where we slowly reveal a movie poster and try to guess which movie poster it is. Got a question for us? Call the Talking Studios hotline at 201-467-8679 and leave a message. It may be featured on a future episode. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to Talking Pictures Trivia wherever fine podcasts are found.
Ding, 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 ding.
Do relationships boil? Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
Hey, these ones boiled.
Yeah.
If you say it confidently, it works.
I say everything confidently.
That's why it all works. Wow, Talking Studios. Ding, ding, ding.
Ding, 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 ding. Ding, ding.